Good morning, all. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the Orgel Room. Let's see. Do I need to be more direct? Oh, there we go. There we go. I don't do the thing like the Lord be with you because I don't think that should mean shut up and stop talking. That shouldn't be a thing. No, welcome. We're really glad to have you all here. We're going to get started in a few minutes, maybe even less than that. So folks will probably still keep coming in here. I kind of want to leave these doors open if we can, if it's not distracting, because a lot of what we're here to do today is really to experience this space and see how it potentially ties our buildings together in a really, really important way. So are we streaming? Thank you to whoever's out there joining us via live stream. Let's open with our campaign prayer. We haven't said it in a few weeks during Lent, and appreciate Catherine and our Spiritual Emphasis Committee for keeping us grounded in while we're doing this work. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Holy God, you call us to make your love visible in the world around us. Give us wisdom and courage to meet this moment with generosity and with hope, that we may grow in your loving kindness and show forth your compassion in our community with renewed faithfulness and boldness, through Jesus Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. I'm also going to drop the campaign verses in here for us as we get started. I think they're terrific. So these are the verses that we use to kind of guide us and gather the different aspects as well. It's from Isaiah chapter 60. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Lift up your eyes and look around. They all gather together. They come to you. Your sons shall come from far away, and your daughters shall be carried on their nurses' arms. Then you shall see and be radiant. Your heart shall thrill and rejoice. I think our consultants crushed it with choosing those. All about seeing one another, the vibrancy of seeing young people, elders, all people mixing together, and that picture of the kingdom. So here's what we're going to do today. Today, this is, Lent is a perfect time to be reminded of who Calvary is deep, deep down, right? Anybody made it down here for any waffle shop or any preachers? I mean, this place is packed. One of the things that I had a picture somewhere. Oh, it's right here. It's not very big. I just printed on our printer, but that's the front hallway the other day. I think Margaret took that picture of people like sardines packed in here in this hallway. It's awesome and probably a fire hazard. So it's a great time to kind of think about why we might be doing this, and especially if we have to pivot a little bit, right? Meet our goals and meet our budget. So today we want to be in this room. I'm curious, has anybody never been in this room before? Yeah. These are people like a vestry, a dedicated usher, a choir member, all these. It's a room that's kind of closed off to us, but it's phenomenal, right? It's phenomenal. This is the room that kind of broke open the idea that our three distinct buildings that we want to talk together more effectively and let us talk together. This is the room that allowed us to think about how to do that. So we wanted to do this in here, even if it was a little noisy down the hallway today. The other thing about this room that you might notice is these are not going to be helpful, this projector, but we set it up anyway because two reasons. One, it'll let the images go onto the live stream. Two, we can't see those images because there's too much natural light in this room. Where else on this floor do you experience too much natural light? Quiz. In the back of the kitchen. In the kitchen, there's some windows you can look out. So this is another thing. We can actually bring light. Light is falling into this building right here all the time that could actually be used and spread out. So come on in. So what we want to do is we're going to keep it fairly simple. We're not going to go into all of the details. The main thing that I want to tell you, kind of bring you up to date as to where we are, and then David's going to come in and talk about some new ideas to adjust. So where are we today? Maybe you'll remember that we had a feasibility study a whole year ago. A whole year ago is when we were trying to figure out what is a responsible fundraising amount. We also gathered a whole bunch more information about who we are as a parish, what this moment is like in our life. And they set our consultants in April said you should set $7.3 million as your primary goal for your campaign. And then the world just kind of went on like, nothing much happened after that in the world. Maybe not. No, I mean, the S&P dropped 20%. The inflation hit 9% at one point during that year, right? Remember the year? Sorry if it's too soon, but... And as of today, we're at 94% of that primary goal. Now, to my mind, that's a ridiculous success, even though, of course, we still may get there. But what we committed to from the beginning was doing this responsibly. We're going to do what we can do with the resources we have available to us. So we hit really close. We're very close to that primary goal. We didn't rage on past it. Our reach goal was another $800,000 for extra green spaces and whatnot. Advanced gifts, so the advanced gift portion happened in November and December, so we kind of see what those foundational gifts might be. And then in January, as you remember, we gathered for this glorious celebration out at the Botanic Gardens, where it was clear we've been dying to be all together in the same room, enjoying each other, and kicked off the congregational giving section. Now, the other side, if you've ever done a project, whether it's you're adding on a living room or remodeling your kitchen, I've got this much to spend. There's another really big, important variable. How much does it cost? So, last summer, we got an educated estimate, but still an estimate from our contractors of the contracting part was about $6 million. Later in September, I guess, they adjusted it, probably about 6.7. Then in January is when they really drilled down and they had more detailed drawings, and this place was swarming with subcontractors, and they opened up ceilings and walls and did all of the other things. Guess what? It was almost 50% higher for their section of it. It was enough higher that we had to say, this is the end of January. Remember, that's just the day before yesterday, before Lent. We had to say, okay, let's have a conversation. We know what we need to do. We know what we want this building to accomplish. We know what the resources are that we believe will be available to do it. Are there some creative ways that we can still meet our goals and reduce the scope, simplify the project? So David's going to come talk to you about how we've pivoted since there. The other folks who are here, Margaret has worked in depth on the kitchen side of things. Charles has kept us honest with regard to all things historical and whatnot. Those we're not going to focus on as much, but we're not trying to fill up this whole 45 minutes. We'd like to have there be some room at the end. You can walk around. You can talk to anybody about specific questions. You can come up close to these, especially since you can't see that. And so there's going to be room at the end for you to come up and ask questions of anybody. But we're going to concentrate on this kind of how we interface with our neighborhood and one another inside. So.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Glad you're here. So, we know where we were 3 months ago, correct, in terms of the plans. We, the team of us and everybody else in this room, listened to each other, and we learned several things. First and foremost, that a door closer to the parking lot was beneficial to almost everybody. Made sense, right? Closest way to get to a front door is from the closest parking place. So, in our first cost-cutting effort, we realized, well, heck, let's just use the alley door, the east entrance door right here that most of us came through this morning. Knowing that that was going to be the main entrance in a scaled-down version, you walked right in here, you come right into this atrium space. From this atrium space, you turn behind you, and let's all look behind us right now. Whit, I'm looking at you. Look at the back wall. Those are 4 doors into the mural room. Right? Straight through there. So the mural room is very activated by this room that we're standing in right now. Now look the opposite way, look straight ahead, through there, through the glass bricks if you can see it, and you can almost see a little bit of natural light straight ahead of you out toward the staff parking area. That's the spine that takes you to the backyard or the side yard of Calvary, the green space, the plaza. Originally, you may remember it had a big archway, and we were thinking that that was going to become the primary entrance into the buildings. There's still an entrance there, but it's not the primary. The alley is the primary. And as I said 2 months ago, I just broke my own rule. Don't call it the alley door anymore. Call it the east entrance door. We're no longer the alley. Calvary, you probably know, we're taking the alley, or we hope to get the alley signed off from the city. So instead of an alley, it becomes part of our exterior space. We've walked in here. We're sitting in the atrium space. We're standing in the atrium. Right about where Katie is, a little bit beyond that, start the stairs going up to second floor. So you see the stairs on the middle of the 3 panels. One of the Katies is walking up the stairs right now, going up to the Juliet space right there, overlook. All that second floor area is open, and you can see down into this atrium space. Same way, those stairs point you directly down the spine hallway, through the Bride's Walk, through the bell tower, to the church door. So all that stays the same way we are, but maybe this is a little better. Being in this room helps orient everybody better than from Great Hall or the church. And then through the mural room, where the father and child are standing right there, you go into the mural room doors where Scott's left finger is, right finger, and down a ramp. You're in the mural room. You turn right. You go to a wider opening into the kitchen, into the big revamped kitchen. So through there, across the mural room, up the kitchen hallway, and straight back in here. It's a circle, right? A very easy loop to understand. Same way, up the stairs, across into the church, or through the Great Hall, circle back to the choir room, circle on the upstairs. So that wayfinding, that big point that we've been trying to reach for years, we've simplified a little bit. We're helping orient everybody. And none of that was cut in the rest of these cut plans. So then some more of the pictures. The arch, yes, that one. That is the current east entrance door. We also heard, please give us a porte cochere. Please give us something that you can drop somebody under and stay dry. Well, it's there, but Shannon, it's expensive. It's really expensive. So it looks good, right? It could look even better. Maybe with a wood ceiling there, a nice pendant coming down in the middle. We can't afford that right now. But perhaps that's the next step. Still, in that Scott's holding, we'll be able to make the traffic flow a little bit better through our restriped parking lot. Parking lot is ugly. It's going to continue to be ugly for a little while because that's the first thing. The green space is the first thing to go.
You can see that when you come up closer, there's a layout of the parking lot.
Aspirational parking lot. And then here's the plaza. Simplified, pulling it down to grade. All right, this is going to be a complicated thing to describe. The Calvary Place playground is at a lower grade, and those windows here on this floor are at a lower grade than the staff parking lot, right? 3 or 4 steps that angles down toward what's formerly been known as the alley. The aspirational plan here is to keep the Calvary playground level as is, green space above, and it angles down in a plaza space toward the alley. Probably with the numbers that we got this week, that becomes simplified. We take the blacktop up, we put some green in there, we plant some trees in there, but it's not as set a plaza as even this picture shows. And that where right at his thumb is a gateway to both to the Grizzlies prep area, the new Grizzlies prep area, and gateway to the walking path over to the parking area. So, what'd you hear from me today? You heard the good parts. The traffic flow inside the building has been fixed. You heard parking is closer to the main entrance door. Parking remains. You heard that, well, you haven't heard this yet, but right now, all plans for the church remain on the table as we try to work out some more of those numbers still. What you're seeing here that probably is in a next phase is an improved parking lot and a much improved plaza area. But it's the big things. We're fixing the building. We're fixing flow within here. John Jones, thank you. So anyway, bit by bit. So I guess questions about what you might have hoped we were doing and haven't heard us talk about here today. Nine?
With these doors becoming the main entrance doors, will anything be done to make them a little more grand?
Probably. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Currently, the alley door, when it becomes the main entrance, what makes it more prominent? Well, certainly the arch did that, right? It focused your attention back at those doors. We've talked back and forth that those doors might become glass and be a little bit taller with glass side lights. And through that vestibule, once you're inside, that's opened up. The ceiling down here gets raised a little bit, as much as we possibly can. This doorway that Robin's standing against right now is enlarged as much as it can. Floor changes to something not as clattery as is right there. Floor matches into this room. And what I didn't talk about in the offices, on the plan, Scott. Remember that the fourth floor offices moved to first floor to the Calvary space area. Right here, so entrance door, office entrance. All of that office entrance area is glass, and hopefully it's a door that can fold back, a very wide glass door to open that area up too. So you come in the new door there, and you're immediately lit by life and office and stuff going on. And that entrance into the offices lines up with the hallway down to the kitchen. So that spine lines up also. Ardell?
While we're on entrances, with this plan, would the Second Street entrance still become accessible with a ramp?
The church, the bell tower entrance was the question. Is there a ramp still into the Second Street structures in the church area? Yeah, as it stands now. It's a very important part of it, and certainly was very important about how the bride's walk was redesigned. The narthex made larger. And the ramp in the church going up the north side to the chancel area. Yes?
So it seems like in this presentation, one of the biggest changes is the other primary entrance is not on the south side, right? That's kind of what we're changing. But is there a plan for that to be, the way that things are being configured, could that be incorporated at a future time?
So the question was about the south entrance into the plaza and how that is activated right now. It's bigger, so big doors out there, big wide hallway, as wide as the bump outs on the south side. You know what I mean? The projected atriums on the south. The door space is as wide as that, so it still looks prominent. We're not losing, no, just not made the primary space. Okay. That plaza door now would be locked most of the time, I anticipate, unless there was some kind of church programming going on out there. So it's not a security issue as much during the rest of the day. Okay.
Not a question, but maybe a clarification. One of the things that, one of the descriptions of that I've heard that's helpful for me is thinking of the plaza as the way that we use your backyard. That's how we would use the plaza. Instead of putting our front porch, it would be it's part of your, you're already here, you're invited further than rather than next to the front porch. That's helpful.
And about the plaza, listening to on that, the idea was to get as much green space out there as possible. So this plan shows about half green and half hard surface for meeting space or event space. The grading was very expensive, correct. That is correct. Concrete's expensive. Grade excavation is very expensive.
The other piece,
I
Shannon,
don't go too far into the weeds on those prices because we're still confused somewhat by grinders. Betsy?
the other,
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Are you telling us, or am I reading something into this, that we have raised enough to do this?
Take the arch out of your view. In the surveys, and Scott, you can jump in on this as much as possible. The green space, the exterior spaces were our reach part of the whole project, and as such, unfortunately, they're the first part that have to get clipped.
Second part of my question is, this does not include doing anything to the church tonight, right?
As of now, no cuts have been made to anything in the church, in the nave. Pews spaced, nasty red carpet pulled up, floors refinished, chancel redone, ramp, etc. So all that remains. Up to the chancel floor, up to the rail, beside the pulpit, up toward the rail. Correct.
get up there. Just,
Or a service, or a priest who is in a chair or a walker also.
another big piece to think about that, to follow up on Betsy's and Shannon's, as far as the cost, was, if you remember in the original coming from the south, we had two-story atrium coming all the way in. You stepped right into that big room. So by leaving this, but having a wide hallway in here, you can imagine what that cost cut down. So those are the kind of things what could we keep in place? What would be lovely and wonderful, but could still function beautifully? And being in this room, you can have a better sense of, like, this is a lot of space. And if it flows right into the organ room, the mural room, we can have a lot going on in here. What were you saying? Okay.
Well, so this may have been a stretch goal all along, but what about the organ?
The organ's still on there. Contract's been signed, and again, in that hierarchy of what we all wanted, church and organ were up there at the top. So that contract's been signed, and in terms of timing, it's going to commence in May. So the organ, the pipes are going away soon and shortly.
May 7th is the last day the organ is going to play for a while, right?
So when do we start? The question was, when do we start having church at Grizzlies Academy? Or here? We don't know. So we're in conversations with GTG, the contractors, we don't have that full schedule lined out quite yet. They've just finished this second round of what they call design development to give us we don't even have the full prices. We have preliminary prices as of Friday afternoon to give us an idea what's going on. So when we get that full schedule, we'll know how they're going to stage the progress. Right now, what they've been telling us is maybe they'll start on the 4th and the 3rd and the church. Definitely want them to start in the church because we'd like to get out and back in as quickly as we can. And especially in the summertime when Grizzlies prep is gone, we can be over there and not in their way. But he said if we can do 4th floor and 3rd floor, which are relatively simple, they might actually be places that we could finish and use as our own storage. Right, we're going to have to store some things during construction and bring them back in. That's climate-controlled spaces. They can be kind of big, open spaces, and they're fairly simple construction. So
That's
anyway.
storage after the rummage sale and
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
clean out.
yeah.
Just note that, everybody. So this week, we've been hounding the contractors to get us numbers for weeks now. We expected those in late February, and it's now late March. We wanted those before we let the architects work with the Ukrainian people located in the Ukraine who have been doing the renderings for us. Well, the renderings weren't finished till Saturday, and we didn't even get full numbers from GTG until Thursday afternoon. So, it sounds like we're a little bit off the cuff right now, but at least we are starting to pull some more concrete ideas together. So I apologize to everybody on both those facts. It's going to be a great project, and it's close. We're that close. Kitchen remains the same. Still working with Mary and Margaret and her team on exactly what pieces of the kitchen come in, but envision a big walk-in cooler, envision a nicer entrance off of a nicer service entrance where the car is parked right there, a better ramp, not rickety stairs that take the delivery people down into the kitchen. Imagine a nice small little mop sink. Imagine a new dishwasher in its own room. Imagine your coffee area or your iced tea in its own area. And think about a bigger service area for Wednesday nights and certainly for Waffle Shop where people can actually turn around and move safely and comfortably.
Kind of hard to serve 594 dishes in one 3-hour period.
Margaret has been to Applebee's and she's quizzed them about their dishwashing system. I'm not kidding. Debbie? That is correct. You know, that's not fully figured out, but yes, presumably this is both entrance and exit to Waffle Shop. And during Waffle Shop, the south doors, the plaza doors would be open also. So you'd have that entrance and exit point, and you'd have that entrance and exit point and upstairs. Linda? The ladies' restroom up there. It's the important things. Well, Padre and I had a conversation this week. Maybe those just stay the way they are. And I enumerated several people who'd already told me point blank they would leave if those didn't change. So yeah, they will change. They'll be lovely and accessible. And presumably, as the plan shows right now, the doors into both those restrooms outside the Great Hall don't access off the main hallway. There's an entrance area and the doors go in that way. So you can't knock somebody out when you're coming out. Cap?
So basically, what I hear you saying is that the interior is going to have the same flow, the same capabilities, the functionality will be the same, the light will be pretty much the same.
Same. Yeah. The flow, yes. The wayfinding within the building, which was point one to try to fix, has been fixed, has been accomplished.
Than we saw here.
Slightly, yes.
The plaza will be somewhat there. We can work on that later, but the functionality all inside is going to be what we plan to do all along.
Correct. And your point, the light and everything stay the same as the plans, not stay the way it is right now.
Correct.
Yes.
You mean over here?
Suzanne was
You mean over
asking
here?
about the exterior of the building. We hope we can afford paint to cover up the whole building and to unify it.
We'll call Roger the Shrubber.
Again, the arch picture right here, you see the car, that's the kitchen bump out. At one point that was going to go away, but really that hides a multitude of sins and camouflages a lot of things and allows better access, service access into the kitchen. So it remains perhaps we'll have a ventless dishwasher, which means the big dishwasher vent won't come out that way. So bit by bit, things get taken away and eliminated from that back area.
And I will say that the ventless dishwasher saves on water and electricity.
Wow.
And the kitchen equipment person, who I knew as a salesman, said that if we had to run
Again, he's a salesman.
What provision for parking during the construction phase for the perimeter?
But really, right now, the parking lot is going to stay the same as is. So, and the corner space will be paved out there. So I presume we'll have all of that still for our use. The staff parking area will be dumpsters and the trailer for contractors.
Another question, contractors lay down there, is he gonna leave that to him to spend for himself?
The-
This is for materials that are going into the building that need to be brought to the site and stored.
Yes. Not fully thought out, just the way the rest of the plan isn't. But my hope or my thinking is that the staff parking area is all contractor based, right? So we're losing that part, but we're losing that anyway in the grand scheme of plan. To be continued. So church, we start in the church, and really material-wise, there's not much that's changing there. Pews get pushed out, floor gets refinished, new stone on the chancel floor. That happens first, and then we move on into this building. All that hasn't been decided fully, probably starting from fourth floor down through here. Up in the air.
Well, there are one thing in the church this is me, giving away the font in the back, and we'll leave it up front, so that'll make a lot of people happy. So, but just a few simplifications on the layout, and possibly not rebuilding the whole pews, but actually just spreading them out. And so there are a few costs. We're finding those that we can achieve. Is that right, Charles? That's about where we are.
New cushions.
Another question, is this work under bid by the local contractors, or have we selected a contractor and
You want to go jump on that one? We selected the contractor early with Grindr.
Yeah, so since we had to start this work last fall, and anybody who wanted to pay what somebody would bid to what they'd promised to build it for a year out wouldn't be doable. We had to do a negotiated bid. So we had to choose a contractor, and we have a consultant who said there are only a few in town that he recommended, came to choose Tabor Grinder after interviewing, and negotiated their contract, what percentage they would work for. So now we're at the process of they're going out and getting two bids on these design development drawings from contractors to say, now you've got enough details for us to give you this price, and they're competing against each other, and that's how our prices are set. Firm bid would have been had to be so padded that we wouldn't have had a chance. Does that make sense as the process?
Any- Same way, better flow all the way through. Margaret, do you want to jump in on this one? The question was about basement church and how Sunday morning works for our neighbors. You can come here.
Basement church will function just like it did this morning and every other Sunday, but with wider hallways and just better access for everyone. I think people will still come in this door, go on down to get toiletries, clothes, and out the Adams Street door for food. Yes, yes. And while I'm up here, since some of you have not been in this room, you might not have had the pleasure of looking up and out on this beautiful day to see what we hope will become a neighborhood asset, the 100 North Main building. But, you know, it's still there with its busted out windows through which stuff has been thrown down on top of this church. So, hopefully. We've got to figure that out, depending on the timing and...
It'll be great to have Welcome In as a flexible space for all kinds of things, from temporary office space to room in the inn. It's really open rooms that can be quickly set up in different ways. So we're counting on it for being useful in that.
Margaret and Scott, Margaret and Charles and I are set to give walkthroughs if anybody wants to talk through any part of this or walk the building and physically see what the plan is. Happy to do that, and whenever. And please keep your questions coming to all of us. It's a little fluid. Hopefully we're getting closer to firm details on everything. Betsy?
I know you can't say this firmly, but about when do you anticipate this will all be done?
Done? We need $2 more million to get the arch and the parking area done. Round numbers, yes. Not the arch itself is not $2 million, but yes, to do exterior. That's what we're trying to cut. That's what we've been trying to cut this week. When do we anticipate it being done? We hope that if the organ starts going in the middle of May, that takes longer than the construction inside the church building itself will take. We will be back in the church prior to Christmas of '23. And then after that, it's a little more unknown on the rest of this building.
I just wanted to add something in the difficulty of getting prices. One of the contractors that I work with a lot this week said, there's no concrete. It's all going to Blue Oval City. In a few months, there won't be sheetrock because that massive construction project is going to affect everything we do. The same thing happened when the casinos were all happening in Tunica. There was nobody to lay tile. There was no tile available because it was all going there. So that's one of the reasons that we're looking at how to simplify at this point, because these are headwinds that we had no way of encountering. It's happened. We've got to deal with it. So we're trying.
John had one back.
Yeah, John Johnson. He said God works in strange ways. That was just his prelim. Yes, yeah. Gentleman from Boston, I'm not sure of his name right now, but he's very familiar with the organ, did the north chamber. There's a little bit of work to do in there. Most of the pipes come out of the south chamber. There's some wall work in both of those. He's been going back and forth with Tabor Grinder this week about dust, how to keep the dust down as much as possible out of both of those chambers. Console will come off of the chancel floor, blah, blah, blah. Big undertaking.
I don't know if you're gonna like my question.
Let it happen.
It sounds to me like there are some issues with construction and timing of getting things, and I know everything's very fluid. And I know a big part of all of this was Calvary Place had to close. I mean, can we change construction in such a way that they can stay till December so that they could appropriately move to a different place?
Scott and Margaret, I'm going to let you two. I'm going to pass that one.
I don't think that's the case, that they could move to a different place by December.
They have tried everything in town just because of a lot of people, and they just were not able to find suitable, affordable locations.
And that was never talked about with all the change in our plans of maybe even being able to keep them if we're gonna make some changes.
No, because we have to make those choices far in advance. That's why we've been working on annual schedules so that everybody can plan for far out in front. Does that make sense? That a few months doesn't end up, all of the decisions have to be made on both sides, whether theirs or ours, to be responsible to families, to make, and teachers and ours. You got to look out 8, if not a year. We were trying to make sure we were making decisions a year ahead. So adding a few months, because there's so much that would have to happen, wouldn't really solve those issues. Programming, one more thing, before, I think Scott and Meg are going to come say something. Small thing, we haven't gone into programming. I can't tell you how thrilled I am about programming. Last weekend, we were at St. Columba with Padre Gotuma, had a fantastic retreat out there in their space in Scheibler, and I stepped it off with Catherine like halfway through. I'm like, how big is this room compared to the room that we're going to have? Our chapel space, flexible chapel space, is going to be effectively right there, and it's going to have glass out into this, eventually this green space, however much it is. We could have those 80 people here in downtown Memphis in a beautiful, well-lit room out onto a plaza where we could flow in and out and do things. The adult formation space has been a real struggle. We can't program to the things, we don't have rooms to program right now things, not just looking for growth. So those were already in the plan, but something really crystallized this weekend for me, how some of the opportunities that are going to happen with some of these spaces. What do y'all have for us?
We just want to say thank you. Thank you all for your incredible generosity. We believe this has been an amazing campaign in so many ways. I know you've heard Scott talk about the all the different metrics. We obviously are looking at the numbers and the fact that we have reached 94%. We're still working behind the scenes to get to that 100% number. So we're not finished yet. We're just allowing everybody to focus on the incredible waffle shop that Heidi is running here, and Debbie and all these wonderful people. So we're continuing to work behind the scenes, and we hope that we will make our goal here in the next couple of months. We wanted to also just say that one of the things that we are doing is going back to folks who've made a 4-year pledge to see if they would be open to extending their pledge to a 5th year, and so that would increase their contribution by 25%. So if that's something that you are able to do, please reach out to us and let us know, because every bit of this certainly helps get us towards some of these amazing drawings and renderings that we've been shown today. So we are very excited. We just believe so much that this has been a successful campaign. Again, we've had more giving units to the campaign than we normally have for our annual giving. So that tells you that we really have over, I think, Katie, you know more of the numbers, but it's like 250 plus maybe? 270 folks are giving units, 270 pledges to the campaign, which is well above what we normally see for our annual giving. And I know you all are feeling the energy and the momentum as you've seen the pews fill up. We had so many great parties. I see all these great hosts and hostesses in our midst. And so it's just a great time for Calvary, and we feel the momentum and the love, and we're very excited. So just thank you all for that. We so appreciate it.
Just a couple of other things just on the raw numbers. So we raised during the campaign about $7 million. And remember, before everything got started, we had about $800,000 already raised from pre-gift, so at 7.8. And I believe that the endowment's going to probably do about $1 million, so that's almost $9 million that's going to go into all of the physical plant and changing everything around and pay for all of these things that are going to happen. But in addition to that, just want to reiterate something Meg had said, that the people who are donating to this campaign, not only are those who come here all the time and come to church and get involved in things, but just as 2 examples of the importance of this church and the importance of our living into our neighborhood with this building coming back online. And on Wednesday, I had some information out. Steric building is going to be announced that it's going to come back online with a huge development. So living into our neighborhood is just going to be fabulous. And I know 2 examples. One woman who has facilitated a retreat here, just was impressed with everything here and has donated some money to our campaign. And then a member of the Church of the River was so impressed with how much we were open to them when their water system broke, and just a bunch of things, how we work downtown, gave a sizable gift to our campaign. So it's important for us to know not only are we doing something responsible for our own congregation and living into the neighborhood, but we're also living into our history and our mission. I was going to say burden, but mission, yeah. Better word, of being such a bully pulpit for everything that's really fabulous downtown. And so I just wanted to commend all of this, everyone in this room and all of us in the church for what a great job we've done of raising, in the end, it's going to be about $9 million to transform our space.
That's it. Come on up here, ask questions, look closer at the stuff you can't see from your seat. I can't thank David enough, and Charles and Margaret and a whole group of folks who really drilled down to try to help us get to where we are. Thanks.